if you aligning with the frequency of your highest potential is probably one of the most courageous and beautiful things that you can do for yourself, and then in turn for humanity. And a lot of the people that I work with, and I'm sure that you're the same too, is they want to see humanity thrive. And so in order for us to see that, we ourselves must thrive. So, and that is how we ripple out, because again, it all starts within. Yeah.
Welcome to the Biba frequency, home to conversations with consciousness. I'm Biba, your host. Hey folks, welcome back to the Biba frequency. Thanks for tuning in. Today you're in for a beautiful conversation that's very real, it's very authentic. It is with a lady who invited me onto her podcast. She has a podcast called Rock the Ripple, and it's absolutely brilliant. She has a whole eclectic bunch of people that she interviews, and she's a fabulous listener. Her name is Nereeda McInnes, and she is what I will consider a sister. She and me bounce off each other really, really well, and she brings out the best in me because I curse a lot when I'm around her. I don't know what that is, but I will consider that the best of me. I love her dearly, and I love her approach to life. She's full of fire. She's full of vitality. She's passionate. She works with frequency. She's got a website and an app to assist people through the transition phases of their spiritual awakening, and she's right on it. And she and I share the same frequency. We really, really do. And so I hope you enjoy this conversation. And I hope you check out her podcast and her work as an energy facilitator in her own right. I will leave all of her details below in this podcast. And until next time, over and out. Nereeda, welcome to the Biba Frequency podcast. It's beautiful to have you here today.
Oh, it is so beautiful to be here with you, Biba.
Nereeda, I'm so glad you came on because you have your own podcast, and you have a brilliant podcast actually, and you interview all different sorts of people, and you have this a beautiful ability to listen, and you very rarely talk about yourself. You're one of those podcasters that's just like, let them talk and assist them. But I want to know what's going on with you. Tell me, Nereeda, where are you at now? Right now in your life and in your understanding of this reality that we're living in. And we'll work from here to go back a little bit.
Okay. Wow. Good little spot to start, Biba.
Yeah.
Right now, gosh. Well, right now I'm in a place of being very open to all the possibilities that there are and being a lot more grounded in who I am. And it's been quite the journey to get to that point. And I think you can relate to that from our chat on the podcast as well when we did that. And I'm feeling like, oh, I've got to click that thing. I'm feeling like it's an exciting time, and it's been quite a big ride so far. I don't know if I've answered the question so far. I'm getting used to being on the other side. Talk to me, Goose.
Roger that. So, so here's the thing, right? Because you work with frequency and you have a website. It's Frequency Shift. It's yours, and you do programs with people and you assist people. So you and I have a lot of similar truths about reality. Like we're very similar in how we. Even communicating with you is just very fluid. There's no edges or corners. It's just like a wave. It's very easy to say anything to you because you're just kind of, I think we really are on each other's wavelength, man. And
frequency.
Yeah, exactly. And so with that, when you say it's been a long road to get to where I am, grounded in myself, looking forward to all the possibilities and potentials that lie ahead, or in this moment, like, when did you notice that this was an actual lifelong journey to come home to yourself?
It's been my whole life, I think, coming to this point. And I always say, imagine what I'll be like in 10 more years or whatever it might be. But like we were talking, you were just saying about frequency, it's coming to that point of realizing that we consciously co-create what is it that we want. what it is that we want to show up in the world. And our frequency really is our currency. So when I came to that and realized that we have that power, all of us have the power to choose how we want to show up, to choose what we want to see in the world, to step into that frequency or just be that frequency that we want to embody, and that it actually works, and that we can do that. Like, we go to the gym to build muscles, we constantly and consistently work on our frequency. And in order to come to that place, though, I had to be so out of alignment, and had to go through so many things to realize, like, the pendulum swing of where I've been and where I've come from and all that sort of stuff, to realize, hey, it's actually all in my control and I can do this. And there's lots of things that are out of my control as well too. But when I stepped into that more and more, I became more of who I am and let go. I always say, like, all these layers, like when we're born, we have all these layers put onto us that we use to survive. We show up in a certain way. If I be good, then this will be okay. I'll be safe. All this sort of stuff. And we have all these patterns and programs, and they're all these layers of limiting beliefs and things that we think are us as we're growing up as adults. We're just children in big bodies operating out of those programs. And unless we consciously look at those things and go, actually, this isn't serving me anymore, then we'll keep doing the same thing. And I think for people who want to reach the frequency of their highest potential, or at least step that way, because there's infinite possibilities, then to be able to come to that and to be able to go, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to show up. I'm going to consciously and on purpose build the frequency of what it is that I want. And then knowing that, then you know that you're creating positive ripple effects that just spread out far and wide. And I don't even know if that's answering the question, but I just know that we are here to make those changes ourselves. And when we do that, that's how we change the world. And it all starts with us. It all begins within, and all of us can start there. And I loved what you said on the podcast too, that love is the answer. Like, it really is. And I was the same as you. I was like, oh yeah, love's the answer. What the hell are you talking about? Like, just love yourself. But actually, when you love yourself, it's not just loving who you are, it's loving all the parts of yourself. It's loving those parts of yourself that was abandoned as a little child. It's giving yourself that love and that encouragement and all that stuff that you didn't get, or that you wanted, or that you craved, or that you should have had. And it's up to you, your responsibility, to be able to do that now in our lifetime now. And the more that we can do that, the more that we can love ourselves, and we can show up for everyone else in the best way possible, because we are showing up for ourselves in the best way possible.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautifully said. Really, really beautifully said. And you said it's to align with the frequency of my highest potential. Like, I've not heard that before. And so what is your highest potential then?
Yeah, well, that's an excellent question.
Yeah, so like, what is your highest potential then?
I think for me, like, my highest potential is being all that I came here to be. Now, that'll be different for everyone. And for me, I don't even know what that is yet. But what I do know is that if I let all the old stories and limiting beliefs hold me back, I'm not going to know what that looks like. So my job then, in order to do that, is to keep removing those layers and all that sort of stuff. And with the people that I work with, and I've said this as well, is when you make that conscious decision, when you're saying to yourself, I align with the frequency of my highest potential, when you program your subconscious or reprogram yourself to do that, there's a really good chance that your shit is going to come up. And that's because that stuff is the stuff that needs to fall away in order for you to go to the next level of your evolution, whatever that looks like for you. And so it's something that, you need to be a bit brave and courageous, but know that when that stuff is happening, it's happening for you in order to go to that next stage. And I don't know if any of us know what our full potential is yet, but the beauty is to enjoy the journey of discovering what that might be. And when we all do that and encourage each other and ourselves and allow ourselves to fall over and fall on our face and get back up again, then we can see, all right, okay, that didn't work. How about I try this? Or I learned so much from that. I'm going to do this now. Like there's so much potential in all of us. And I think when we tap into that and be gentle on ourselves too, because a lot of us have had some tough rides, but then just keep going and do that for ourselves. And that's why I think, if you aligning with the frequency of your highest potential is probably one of the most courageous and beautiful things that you can do for yourself and then in turn for humanity. And a lot of the people that I work with, and I'm sure that you're the same too, is they want to see humanity thrive. And so in order for us to see that, we ourselves must thrive. So, and that is how we ripple out, because again, it all starts within. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I love listening to you, Nereeda. I really do love listening to you. And tell me about, how do you work with people? What's your gig? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so well, there's different levels, and actually, I don't know when this is going out, but I'm starting something new, which is a pay what you can for people, because the idea is that we need people to be able to do this work, and I don't think that that should hold people back and not being able to do the work. So that'll be called Shift Club, and that's coming out and kicking off in October, and it's a quarter by quarter thing. You don't have to do it more than once, or you can. It's totally up to you, but what it does is it gets people to stay on track and consciously on purpose, consistently doing the work, and whatever that looks like for them. Because we can go to a healer or go to an appointment, have a session, have a one-on-one session with me. Great, that's awesome. But it's the work in between. It's that consistent work, and that's the work where we empower ourselves because we are doing it ourselves. And I'm all for healers as well. And I know that the work that is done is so profound. I'll be bringing back my one-on-ones as well. But those sort of things, the healer isn't healing, it's the person doing the work. As you would know, you're holding the space for people to heal themselves. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing with people. So they're going to be coming on board, hopefully. So there's 2 levels for people to jump on in. And I've got the frequency shift journal, which with that journal, people can then get online access to the frequency shift portal, and they can learn how to reprogram their subconscious mind for their version of success by creating a frequency shift activation and shift script. So they can do that with the journal or with Shift Club. If they can't get the journal, they can access it that way too. So it's something that can reach everyone, because that work, creating the frequency shift activation and the shift script, that is the consciously and on purpose work that we do to reprogram our subconscious mind. So that's the stuff that I want to reach as many people as possible, because it's helped me so much to shift in my own life. And I know just how powerful it can be. And that's the stuff that, yeah, can really rock the ripple, if you know what I mean.
Rock the ripple.
Yeah.
I say that multiple times a day since I've met you.
It's great, isn't it? I love it. Hey, I forgot to say I've got an app as well, which is totally free, which people can sign up to and do some activations too. That's the Frequency Shift app. So that's in the stores anyway.
You do all
There you
that.
go.
That's a lot.
Hey?
That's a lot.
Yeah, I didn't do it in 5 minutes, but
It's a lot. It's a lot to put together, and
Mm,
also because I work one to one with people, but what they do, and part of that is their own advice from their own greater being about how to implement the changes after the session. But you're doing the work in between
mm,
on the everyday. Like that's the frontline hard work, because you're up against the programs and I'm tired of
mm,
meditating at 6 in the morning or whatever it is that people do. And when you design this program, and obviously you've put into that program everything that's really assisted you, right?
mm.
What's been, I mean, if you were to, it's kind of a silly question, but it's an interesting question to me. Out of all of the things that you've tried and you've done, what has been of greatest assistance to you on your journey through evolution in this life?
That's a big question. I don't know that it's just one thing, Biba.
Mhm.
Like I know for sure the frequency shift activation and the shift script. That's something that practically flew out of me after meditation one day when I was just so freaking sick of myself. I kept hitting so many bloody brick walls. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why is shit not shifting? Like, it was driving me mental. So, of course, I put it out to spirit and to my higher self. I'm like, I need help. I need help here. And then I got this guidance to watch certain things and all this sort of stuff. And then this fell out of me after meditation one day. And from that day, I read it out loud every single day, and things began to change and shift. And sometimes I've changed it so that sometimes I'll listen to it while I'm doing something, I'm multitasking. And I know for sure that that has helped. And then aside from that, other things that have helped me is, like, as you can tell, I'm a real talker and I love to talk things out. And when I'm with someone that I can really express myself with and just blurt it out, I can just, and they hold space. And I feel like that's such an amazing thing to be able to do. I can just let it out, and my higher self, my inner self, gives me the answers as I'm talking it out, as well as journaling and that sort of stuff. And then just the synchronistic meetings with people, like just having a conversation with people and having asked for the help, or wanting the help, or knowing that there's something that I want to shift along the way. And maybe that's not the terms I would have used back then, but someone will say something in a conversation, and when you're aware, you're like, okay, that's what I need to do. And just following the signs, like someone ringing me one day, and I remember I hadn't spoken to her for ages, and she didn't ring me. She sent me a message and she said, you got to meet this lady. You got to do a quantum healing hypnosis session. And I was just like, okay, like that just came out of the blue. And it was one of the best things that I'd done. So I've done those sort of things, the healing work, the kinesiology, the NET. There's so many different things that I've done, and all of them have played a part. And even the ones that haven't been as helpful have helped as well, because it's like, okay, that's not something that I need to do. And then just being out in nature, Biba, just being able to go for a walk and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like it's not one thing, obviously, but there's some things that have definitely been really powerful as well. Have you found that as well?
Yeah, clearly. But actually what you said there is I was meditating and my higher self gave me this. So that's your foundation, isn't it?
Mm.
So
The
meditating and communicating with your greater being.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
when did that begin?
I don't know, I think I began to be, the more that I became aware of myself, more self-aware, and started to consciously and on purpose do stuff. So I got into personal development before I kind of got into the spiritual stuff. Sort of that kind of went, like it was sort of like I always explain it, it's like one thing after another. Like, some people have these catalyst moments and they're like, this happened and then my whole life changed forever. That is not what happened for me. No, it's been a slow marathon of just little bits along the way. And the more that I started to remove the layers that were holding me back, that's the more that I started to trust myself. And that's been a massive part of the journey too, Biba, is trusting myself and loving myself. And and trusting, again, I've got to say it's been huge. And so honoring the messages that come through. So obviously I meditated, but it's also just feeling and knowing and really being in tune with those different things. I can't pinpoint an exact time, but I know that it's been a muscle that I've been building over time, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And even in nature, like it's not about even meditating sitting on a sofa. It's just contemplating,
Yes.
engaging, interacting. And when you say, and stuff came up and I had to, the layers, how do you say, for example, tomorrow you wake up and because the noise just gets so low eventually it just doesn't bother showing up anymore, right? Because the new program's so strong that the victim program's just it's somewhere buried over there. But say if you wake up and it's like, hey, don't you forget. How do you deal with the days when it's like, don't you forget? There's still TikTok programs in the background. What would you do? in that instance?
Mm. I just notice it. Just go,
Mhm.
oh, there's that thing again. Thanks. Thanks for showing up. That's not how I think anymore.
No.
That's not what I do anymore. And it's an old program and it will pop up. And gosh, we're all human and we have emotions and things will trigger us. And those things are there to show us what still needs to be healed. Or if someone's just being a complete dickhead, like there's, there's both sides of the coin. But yeah, I notice them but it's not where I want to be. It's not who I want to be anymore. So I don't wallow and stay there, whereas I would have a long time ago. I would have stayed in those places. And that's because that was familiar. It was a familiar pattern, and that's all I knew. And now, because I've retrained myself and reprogrammed how I want to show up, that's changed it. And it's only from doing the work every day, or at least 5 times a week, just doing that work and consistently doing and noticing those sort of things, because we are shifting big shit when we do this. It's not just our lifetime, it's like ancestral stuff. So half the shit that we're dealing with, and that's a technical term, I use it a lot, shit, that is the stuff that is the stuff that we're moving, and it's not even ours. And that's part of it too. So it's being able to really notice and honor yourself in those times, and just to stick, be aware and give yourself love, really. Because you don't want to stay there, and it could be easy to do if you haven't done that work to shift it. But the more that you do it, the more familiar you become with the new. And that, like you said, it's the old stuff. It's back there. It's not the same anymore. And it doesn't have that trigger anymore. And if it does, it pops in for a reason for you to look at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I had something there recently. It's got to do with someone I know, and it's like, but what about, the little voice, but what about, and I'm like, what about it? You know,
Yeah.
it's like, stop talking to me in that apathy. Apathy.
Mhm.
I thought, fuck you, like, get out of my head. All is well, love, forgiveness. And it's not like Miss Positive, because I'm not part of the positive bunch, or,
No.
it's like, no, I'm very real. You're very real. But
Mm,
you said something really important about a lot of what we're dealing with isn't ours.
mm,
People don't know that. They think it's all about them. It's all about me. Woe,
mm.
woe me. Well, actually, yeah, because you're the representative that's interjected into this reality to clean it up for ancestors. And I was working with a woman yesterday just to reiterate and reinforce what you just said. And she was working on something really tough in a family line, the kind of worst of the worst. And I said to her, here's the thing, what you're doing now is profoundly deep in realities, because when you pull the plug on this and you cut this, you're setting free tribes of ancestors in the cosmic realms, in the on the other side realms. Like, it's not just people who've died and are living in, like, they now don't have to carry that in their reality wherever they are.
Mm,
Like, we are living in a fractal world where there's worlds within worlds, and all of those ancestors are now, they're not ancestors, they're just other parts of us that are now set free because of that. So yeah, you're removing, let's say, depression or addiction or abuse from your family line. You've come into, as they say in AA, to break the chain, but actually you came in because you had what it takes to do that
mm,
against all the odds. And then they're all set free. So you're
mm,
representing endless amounts of beings. That's why sometimes it's so painful, because you're carrying all of that in this life to go, I am done with addictions or abuse or depressions in the family line or whatever. And so you're spot on when you say this is not just about you. And that's why it's hard. And we have to do it, because if not, it just goes on and on and on, and the world will never change. Right?
mm. Yeah, totally. It won't. And that's the thing. And that's why it can feel so heavy and big. And I don't feel like everyone is here to break the chain, but so many of us are. And if we're talking about it, if we're having conversations like that, we are those people. And that's why it's so important for us to do the work and be kind to ourselves as well. And we're ending it. Like the buck stops here. And so it can feel really big, but it's also one of the most empowering things that you can ever do for yourself and for generations before and to come. And I know it all exists now anyway, but you know what I mean? It's so powerful.
It is. And you said to be kind because, and then her question was, what's my purpose? And it was like, your purpose is to do that. That's
Yeah.
your purpose. Like that is more than enough in one lifetime, and then it spoke to her about the relief of just enjoying now what's to come because of that. And as you said, to learn to really love who and what you are and to be kind and to not go to the next thing and the next thing like a soldier being whipped into action. It's like, no, like step off that carousel and just go, hold on, take account of the work that you've actually done.
Mm.
And then when we can recognize that, some kind of softness comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And I think like a compassion, not only for others because you can see where they're at, but for yourself as well. Like, and that is huge. And the more people who do that work and just walking around with those big hearts, like I know it can sound like fluffy, but it really isn't. It's the most powerful shit you can do because that compassion, you can just, and as someone who feels, you can just see, you can just meet someone where they're at and know, hey, like you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And yeah, it really is powerful. All of this stuff, all of it.
Yeah, exactly. See, I really get you. And I love that I get you because when you say it's not just fluffy. So if you go out, for example, and you're in a space where you're aware and you're conscious and you've dealt with a few programs and you're doing good, you're on track, you're consciously aware of what's coming up and you're not engaging with it. And then you go out and you sense something or you see someone and you talk to someone, like kindness is the magic formula for this realm. It's actually the magic formula because
Mm.
everybody wants kindness. Animals are looking for kindness. People need kindness. And even when someone's angry, if you're just kind to them, they just don't know how to respond to that. They have to,
Mm.
they have to soften because you're not meeting them with a mirror of anger. You're actually just going, yeah, I get it. It's okay. And
Mm.
when we can be kind, it transforms our nervous system, doesn't it? So your nervous system is at peace, and then you feel peace.
Mm.
And you feel peace. So peace isn't like if I do this course or read this book or meditate Joe Dispenza for the next 10,000 years. No, it's actually, like it's actually being kind.
Mm.
When you're not in pain, you can be kind. It's harder to be kind when you're in pain because you're just angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And that's part of the process, we have to go through all the bits. We've been the victim, we've been the survivor. We want to get to just that place of the middle ground, being that tree in the storm that's like, yep, I see all this shit flying around everywhere, but I'm here. I'm here for you and I'm going to stand strong. And that is so powerful in itself.
Mm. And something that I feel with you and from you, and when I look at you, I feel so you talk about the quantum shift and the offering that you have. But really, you have a very charged energy. So you have a lot of life force. Like there's a passion in you. It's like, it's just there. You don't pretend. It's just you have a passion and it's like you're very alert in what you're doing. And that must just be a magnetic it's not like you're exhausted or you're jaded. Sometimes we can get tired, right? But
Mm.
for you, you have this kind of like magnetic energy that's ready. You're ready. You're ready. That's it. And it's like you're ready to go. And you've done this and you've thought ahead and and you've implemented the changes. And you're like, if you do this and this and this, that will assist you for this. It's like you're on. And how do you maintain being on like that?
Mm.
What's your like
Mm.
maintenance program?
Yeah. Well, I'm not on all the time, that's for sure, but my brain is definitely always ticking over with different ways to do things and all that sort of stuff. And I like to try and make things simple because I know we can overcomplicate stuff. So I love to just pare things back. So if I'm thinking about something and I'm like, okay, well, how could I do this? Or how can I share this in a way that's going to be simple for people? Like it's not going to be overcomplicated because we don't need to overcomplicate stuff. But so when I start to feel like, okay, I need to just chill out. I'll just chill out. I'll just stop. Or my body will just go, hey, you're feeling really tired. You're not even going to be able to do anything. Just go lie on the couch. But I mean, I get excited by what I'm doing as well too. Like it brings me to life. It isn't work, it's fun for me. And so, exploring how can I make this like I'm a planner, but I'm also at the same time like let's be open to the possibility. Like you can't be rigid. So it's sort of like, okay, let's plan this. This can be like you can set up your day this way, but if you don't want to meditate, don't meditate that day. Just like who cares? Like, or you like you said, you don't have to sit on a bloody mountain and like, a lotus position and meditate. No, go for a walk. Don't put your earphones in, and that is meditation. Like, I've recently become qualified in numerology as well, and everyone has different makeups and ways that they do something. And if they have certain numbers in their name or their date of birth, for them, meditation not going to be great. It's going to be like a real pain in the ass just sitting there. But if they're going to be moving around and doing something, that's going to really get them in centered and in the place that they need to be. There's another guy he's a drummer, and his brain, he's like always going, but when he drums, like it might look like he's going crazy, but inside he's centered as like he's in that place. And I think that for me sometimes it's going for a walk and just being in that place of I'm just with myself now. That's meditation. And or just doing the dishes, which like, and just chilling out and doing that. I mean, it's not super fun, but like you just get in that zone, and it can be anything. Or just having a rock out in the kitchen. Like I just like to belt out a tune and sing and just for me, that is cool. And it's expressing as well, and just allowing that to just be like right out there and just being in that moment. And yeah, so for all like that's why as well, I love providing frameworks, but I don't like providing do it exactly like this and this will happen because it's not the same for every single one of us. So it can't be. So that's why it's really powerful to look at yourself and really be self-aware of what works for you and what feels good for you. And then to be able to do it that way, because that's what, like I said, the frameworks are great because you can go, okay, well, that'll work for me, but I might do it this way or do it this way. And that's where we have the freedom. Like we're all unique pieces of this puzzle of life, and we didn't come here to be a carbon copy of each other. And that's something I'm really passionate about too. We're supposed to be our weird, unique self, like I'm weird in my way and you're weird in your way. And that's what makes it magical. That's what makes it exciting. And that's what we want. We don't want everyone just being the same and doing the same. Well, let's all meditate at this time, and it can't be like that. And that would be just like having the
Communism.
same recipe every night. Yeah, dinner every night. What'd you say?
Like communism. It's like everybody
Yeah.
has to think the same. But we are like,
Yeah.
which I totally agree. I love ad hoc things and imperfections. And when somebody's small, like a miniature person, or someone has no legs, or they've got scars, I am very intrigued with those types of people. Or someone who's
Mm.
really old, or um, just I really enjoy imperfection more than I enjoy anything that perceives to be perfect. I find that quite because you're like, come out wherever you are. Come out
Show
from,
us the real you.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's see what's really going on there. And usually it's just a bunch of programs and insecurities and
Mm.
but I enjoy very eccentric people who aren't trying to be eccentric, but they're just fucking crazy, actually. And I married one of them. I married a nut job, and he's a brilliant human. We didn't last as a marriage, but um, he was just mad actually. And I was so
Mm.
intrigued by his level of authenticity.
Mm.
I thought I just admire and he was a genius with music, like a proper genius, but he would busk on the street and Sony would want to sign him up and he just wouldn't, he'd show up drunk and says, I'm not conforming to your fucking institutions. And I'm just like, wow, just that
Mm.
level of, I don't need anything other than what I am. And
Mm.
I love what you're saying about we are different and there's so many similarities, and that's the kindness. The kindness will recognize the similarities out. Um, it's okay to be nice, and it's okay as a boss to be nice, and as a
Mm.
parent to admit that you're completely wrong,
Mm.
and you've got the whole shit show wrong, and you need to change
Mm.
your parenting. And the amount of people who feel guilty will just say to your kids, I did this wrong.
Mm.
I need to restart, instead of just pushing through because of pride or whatever the hell that is, or as a
Yeah.
partner just saying I've been and just allowing and it's not even the imperfections. It's just such a wrong word actually, isn't it, that we've been given and that we use. It's just the way it is.
Mm.
And to be giving yourself permission to be yourself, um and it being okay
Yeah.
just to be
Yeah.
acceptable to yourself.
Mm.
How
Yeah.
can
And
how can I like you if you don't like you?
yeah, exactly.
How?
Yeah.
Because if
Mm.
you don't like you, you're amplifying, I don't like me. So therefore you're not going to like me. And then you're like, why does no one like me? Because no, you don't like you.
Yeah.
Hello? It's called the world of mirrors. So what you're putting out there, you're retracting it back. It's like if I
Mm-hmm.
put a mirror to the sun will reflect into my eyes.
Mm.
Now, if I'm putting out, I hate myself. Well, guess what? You're going to invite all of that hatred to you, and then it amplifies. And this world is such a bad place. Well, here's some more of that. And until like, you go and do ayahuasca or something, and then all the devils inside come out,
Mm.
and you realize it's
Oh.
all on the inside.
Yeah, yeah. But it's so true though, like what you're saying with authenticity. People pick that up, and that's such one of the most powerful frequencies there are. And I've been thinking about this a lot actually lately, is just in order to be your authentic self, you have to know yourself to be able to do that. And you might not know that you're not being authentic if you haven't done the work to release those old limiting beliefs and patterns, because you might think you're showing up a certain way, but actually there's an underlying, I'm not good enough. I don't think I deserve this. Like that's sitting underneath your conscious thought. And so if you don't know that about yourself, how can you be fully authentic? You can be authentic in where you're at, but to be able to show up even more authentically is to be able to really know yourself. Do you feel that as well? Like I've just been thinking about that a bit lately and playing with that idea.
No, this is really good. I've not thought about that, but you're
Mm.
right, because how did I get to where I am being so comfortable in my own skin?
Yeah.
Like I'm now not triggered by what was like, a shotgun show where you go in, it's like everything's a trigger. Now it just doesn't exist. It's just not there because I've
Mm.
removed the hooks. And now I just get to be me. I'm not trying to be me, a version of me that doesn't upset you or that's pleasing to you, or how I perceived that you may want me, and all this mind control. Because
Mm.
we're all telepathic, whether you're aware of it or not, we're all reading each other permanently and we're all
Yeah.
picking up each other's traumas. So when you walk into a room and think nobody likes you, and you're thinking, no one likes me, what you're picking up is they don't like themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so they're thinking no one likes me. So are you picking up on your thought and their thought? So you have to know yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be living in a bandwidth of frequencies that are very incoherent.
Mm.
We live in a world that's designed to completely fuck you up,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And your role is to come in as a superhero and go, no, I know it's possible to feel good, be kind, be successful, glow, radiate, regardless of what's in the food and the water, regardless of what whoever did whatever. I can actually, because I'm not that. I'm not that. I am prior to that. So therefore, I'm going to come in here and tell you that that's not how this works. I'm going to show you how it works. And they're the teachers. They're the Nereedas. I was going to say, I was getting funny with your name again, the Nicodemuses, but no, they're the Nereedas, like design programs to bring you to that level where you become your own teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're forever the teacher and the student yourself anyway. Like, I mean, if you allow it, if you, honor that in your life, like you might not realize that you're teaching people with just how you're showing up, but you're also learning from other people. And like you said, you're telepathically picking stuff up always. And some people are more tuned in and aware of that sort of stuff as well. Like, you were talking about before, well, we were saying about the ancestral stuff, that stuff that we're shifting. But even if we walk into a room and we're picking up on everyone's stuff, then if we're not aware of it, we'll think it's our stuff. And then that's just more shit that's put onto us. So the more work that we do, and that's being so kind to us as well. And we're shifting frequencies when we do that. I mean, obviously, we're always shifting frequencies. Everything's moving all the time. But when we consciously and on purpose do it, it's not like you have to be thinking about it 24/7, but you're aware of that and you're aware of how freaking powerful you are and that you can pick up on all of this stuff, then that's a game changer in my mind. That's how we're shifting consciousness and changing the world. And I think there's so many of us all over the planet that resonate and feel that too, that we came here with a reason and a purpose, and we've probably walked some pretty shitty path along the way. And I think as well, like, you don't just, like you were saying when we were chatting last time, like it's not like a 2-minute job. Like for 20 years of learning about yourself in order to come to a place where you're just like, no, this is me. This is me. You either like it or you don't. And it doesn't matter if you like it. It doesn't matter if you don't. Like, no way matters, because what matters is that I really love who I am. And when you're in that place, it's such a powerful place to sit in, isn't it?
Well, listen, nothing in this world will give you what that is, because that's on the inside. And there's nothing in this world with my eyes that can give me what I have gotten from the inside, which is the awareness of myself. And when we, as you said, there's more of us changing consciousness, like when you come into this realm and there's these bandwidth of frequencies that is about control and manipulation, all that stuff, right? And then there's the trails of ancient texts, and there's the trails that you can go down a trail, and then that trail will lead you though through caves within caves within caves. But you got to come back and go, what is that to me? Don't just listen to a podcast and go, oh, there's a truth. Is it though? That's their reality. What's true for you? And you can only know what's true for you because you're a unique being in your own right. And you have to find what is true to you. And you'll know very quickly when you start working on yourself. But what you're saying is when you transcend the noise, that bandwidth, the frequencies of control and all of that, because that is a very large part of this realm, but it's just it's a lower realm, and you're prior to you're not even in it. It's just so loud you think that's the way it is. But when you transcend that, those bandwidth of noises, they just dissolve, and then you get to create, like a piece of art or a symphony, what you want to create in this realm. And the frequency of my highest potential, the frequency of joy, love, kindness, power, absolute power, because some days you may need your superpowers when you're going into certain places, and you may need to just go vroom, and that's your authority, and you can wear that like a garment, and so there's no bullshit is going to get in, and you're not going to meet. And then there are days when you can just be soft and fluffy, and that's knowing yourself. It's knowing what how to discern what you need to be in every situation with every person as well. Because if you're working with people energetically, you're not just working with them, you're working with the bandwidth, the frequencies, and those frequencies contain a lot of different realms and entities that control them. So you're not
Mm.
just working with Mary. Mary's got a whole entourage of entities
Yes.
that are invested in her misery. So
Yes.
be aware that Mary is representing that, but also for me, I used to work with that and I got sidetracked in all that entity removal, and that's all fine. And it's a very easy thing to do, but it was distracting me from Mary, her greater being,
Mm.
expanding into this realm. And now that's what I do. I'm only interested in expanding, like with you, what you actually are and what you're doing here. We'll deal with
Mm.
all of that. Don't worry about them. In fact, they don't even
Mm.
get into it anymore because they know
Nice.
that, so there are levels we go through, don't we, as energy workers, I suppose, or whatever, just people
Mm.
helping people.
Yeah. People helping people.
Light worker.
Oh, yes.
No, someone said this, they made a joke. They said, if you're a light worker, that means you're dealing with dark forces all the time. So be very careful what you call yourself, because if you call yourself a light worker, you're going to be met with a lot of darkness.
Mm. Yeah.
Wow,
That's
that's
so
very
true.
interesting, isn't it though?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, and that's the thing, like, when you are working, I love that you said that because it's like, you are dealing with Mary here right now. And then when she deals with her stuff here, there's attachments and those things that are hanging on for dear life, and they'll come through the most loving people too. They'll come in a different way and they'll try and be underhanded and they'll be manipulating every kind of way to keep Mary there. But Mary just needs to go, you know what? Fuck that. All right, this is now, I've had enough of all that. I see what's going on. And when you can see all those things going on, oh, that's so powerful too, isn't it? Just,
That's when
mm,
that's when you forget you're in a body.
yeah.
You're like, whoa.
Mhm.
That's when this world shifts into another dimension that doesn't have any of those control mechanisms or manipulations. And to be in that realm it's like going in for a supercharge for your soul, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
whoa, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the power.
Mm,
That's the
yeah.
grid. That's the grid that we're trying to implement here. That power grid
Mm,
that just
yeah.
charges your soul. And it's like, whoa, okay. And so when
Mm,
so and so knocks at the door, or when an issue comes up, or if you see your abuser on the street, it's just like, geez, you look so sad,
mm.
as opposed to you're wanting to go through the floor.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It's so it is. You see things so differently and you feel for the people. So sorry you're in that place of
Yeah,
deep sadness. I can see it. It's just like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
Amazing, isn't it?
it is. It's
It's
so
amazing.
amazing. I think being here at this time is amazing. It's so powerful. And I think I've said that so many times, but that's the word that flows through because I feel like, I mean, I feel really grateful because I've got the Rock the Ripple podcast and I get to connect with all these amazing humans. And I feel like even the people that aren't on the podcast as well, like you probably feel this too. You just know that there's all these lights switching on across the whole planet that are just here doing this stuff, doing this work, and going, yeah, this is it. This is game on, like game over and game on. Like, what do we want to create now? What is it that we want to do? Like, we can look at all the shitty stuff, and yes, we have to do that. It's like cleaning out your house. You can't move into a house that's got shit everywhere and expect it to look pretty. You've got to do the declutter. You've got to clear it out. You've got to, set the intention for the house to be what you want it to be. And then, you start fresh and you start alchemizing. Like we're creators. Like everything already exists anyway. This whole infinite reality of awesomeness, everything that has ever been or ever was. And then we get these downloads that come to us. They choose us. So thanks for choosing me for this idea. And then we alchemize that idea, we create it in real life and we bring it to life. I mean, like if that's not freaking beyond superpowers, I don't know what is. Like and we're literally doing it every day. We don't even realize, even just like I mean, yeah, picking up a pen. Okay, that might not seem like a big deal, but actually we created this floating pen right now and we alchemized it so it went from there to here. Like it's just, I mean, we've got this just innate ability to create amazing. And I feel like we're all these people that we're so gifted and grateful to be chatting with and to be connecting with, whichever ways, whether it's on the screen or at festivals, at a park, whatever we're doing, saying good day at the beach. We're all doing that, and we're creating more of what we want. And I think the more of us that do that on purpose and consciously, I mean, wow. I mean, like who knows how good can it get? My dear friend was reminding me of that saying recently, like how good can it get? Show me how good this can get. Like we can go out there and go, oh, you have a real shitty day and you're like, oh, what else can go wrong? Well, you're going to, like you said, that mirror is going to come straight back in. It's going to tell you, well, I'll show you
Everything.
what's going to go wrong.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. So, let's go, okay, well, how good can it get? Show me how good it can get. And the more of us that do that, well, let's see. Like, who knows how good it really can get? And it can get amazing. I just know it. Yeah.
And you do, because you keep asking the question. You keep your inquiry is like, that's where your laser focus is. How good can it get? So when you've put all your focus there, well, guess what's going to show up? How good it's going to, and how good it already is, because it's
Yeah,
already happened.
exactly. Yes.
It's already happened. And for me, what I've noticed, right, it's very subtle, but it's the subtle that opens up the world, because when I feel content and I'm not worried about anything, I'm just not worried. I'm not going down worrying about anything. Did I eat too
Mm,
many takeaways, or have I enough? All of that, even the smallest little things. It's like,
mm,
okay, like just when I feel content and I'm in the moment feeling happy and content, that to me is the most amazing, because in that's when I can be the creator being that I am, and I have the space to receive the information about what's next for our evolution, or for me personally, or
mm,
when I'm content and when I'm in that moment where I'm not distracted by the noise, I have the ability to change my world enormously. But if
mm,
I'm distracted, I'm distracted. So I did a quantum healing on myself with a friend. Like I was lying down, and the question I had really was how to really create the unimaginable, the what's unimagined. And it what happens is you have to be in the space of curiosity.
mm.
When you're curious, you're not thinking about yesterday. You're curious about what's happening now.
Yeah.
So it's curious about life. What's the best possible potential for this moment or this day? Um, and when you interview all of the different types of people, do you have a particular favorite topic that you like to discuss?
Mm. I don't have a particular favorite, but I do like to look at the solutions. I'm like, we can look at the problems and what's shitty, and then I go, okay, and then I want to like really get excited about looking at how do we create better, and what does that look like? And everyone has a different sort of, well, actually, people tend to have that same sort of like trust, love, kindness, all that sort of stuff. And it doesn't matter what field people are in. And just looking at the possibilities of what we can be doing. Like we could talk about all this, the shitty stuff the whole time, but that's not going to serve, is it? Because we'll create more of that. But at the same time, you can't bypass it either. And there's things that people that I feel are important for people to know, because if you don't know, then how do you know to change something? How do you know to that children aren't being taken care of in a certain place? Like how do we know that? So we need to be aware, and then once we become aware, not stay there, allow it to go through. Like it's the same with healing. Like you become aware, and then you go, okay, you look at it, you give it love, and you let it go, and then you go on to creating. But you can't. you can't make those changes unless you do that. So I love to hear what people have to say about what they're doing and how they're bringing their piece of the puzzle to life and how they're helping others. Because I mean, I might be talking to a homeopath who's creating ranches where people can go with hospitals with homeopathy and sun healing and all that sort of stuff. And then I'm talking to another person who's doing their best to spread awareness about saving the children and the tough stuff that's going on there. And that's a big, hard job too. But people need to be aware of that in order to be able to shift that too. And so many people have something different to share, a different flavor of the piece of the pie that we're all a part of. And then just to be able to look at the solutions and what we can do, and then bringing it back to what each of us can do. And then ultimately, it always comes back to, I find that we realize, well, we've got the power within, and then it's up to each and every one of us. And it tends to go to that place. That's the common thread anyway. I don't know if you find that with yours as well too.
It's like the Fibonacci, though. It always comes back to the same thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're on the same wavelength with people, it always, as you
Yeah.
said, could be doing anything.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
and also when you were just speaking there, I don't know if it's my mind or if it's energy, but I have to catch my thoughts these days.
Mm.
Here's what I wanted to say. It's almost like they're floating, and I have to just find the one that's the one there that I wanted to say. It's very strange. It's like everything's slowed down, and then I have to.
Yes.
It's just very strange. Just so many things are shifting, and it's all
Yeah.
perfect. I don't have to go
Mm.
and see a doctor. No need to take any meds. I just need
Yeah.
to be aware that the thought's there. I just need to bring it back. And the thought is this, that when we find the solutions, well, how do you know what the solutions are? You got to keep pushing the mark out, because if you are part of the status quo, so if I'm working with someone and I'm working in the same way year in, year out, well, great. But like, why not push it? And
Mm.
every day I just push. And my mother trained me to be like that. She's like that. There are no limits to her and her
Mm.
possibilities. And I push it out. So if I'm like, for example, I'm with a client yesterday and we're talking about an autoimmune disease in her body. And it's like, well, if she lets go of this and that. And I said, well, she has just let go of this and that. And well, she needs to. And I said, well, I'm just going to just ask you to do it now. So can you just go ahead and remove that from her body now? Because I've been given the authority to ask you that question by her greater being in my mind. And it's like, yes,
Mm.
I can do that now. So, but if I hadn't have asked the question, so you have to take risks. Do you know?
Yes.
You have to, that's it. And when you are authentic to yourself, you're comfortable in your skin. So you don't mind like taking risks. And the risk is like, how far can I push this thing? Like,
Mm.
how far does this go? Like, how my imagination, if I can just stretch it out and out and out into the field of awareness, like as you said, but the possibilities and potentials are there. I just have to get them. I have to become aware of them to become real in my reality.
Mm.
Like that thought, I have to be aware that my imagination is limited by the realm that I'm in. So when I keep expanding my awareness and stretching my imagination, because your imagination is the playground.
Yes, it is.
It's your playground. It's like where the flowers are growing. And if I go into my imagination and go, well, what's possible? Well, what do you want to be possible? Well, I don't know. Well, like fucking find out then. Don't
Mm.
just like do because she did it. Well, that's her imagination. Get your own and keep pushing it. And they're the pioneers.
Mm.
So
Mm.
for me, it's like with hypnosis. I mean, it's such a for me, it's just the wrong word. It's like an old-fashioned word for something that's transcended. We've transcended beyond hypnosis. You're going into an altered state of consciousness. And my role in that space, not because this is not about me, but it's an example that if I keep you on the script of how hypnosis goes, whether it's multidimensional or spiritual or QHHT or whatever, we'll just be doing this in 100 years.
Mm. Yeah.
So if I just close my eyes and tune into you and go and just keep taking risks, but it may not work. Well, so what?
Yeah. Exactly.
But it may,
Yeah.
but it might work. And so I test it in my work all the time. I test
Mm.
Every time I have a client, I push the boundaries. And every time I'm having a conversation with someone, I just keep pushing the boundaries because I'm so not interested in me.
Mm.
I'm all good. I'm fine. I'm just interested
Mm.
in what is really going on here. What are we
Yeah.
really doing here? And
Yes.
that it's like alchemy and magic, and you can just because when it's not about you, you just get to play
Mm.
because you don't have to take it all so fucking serious. You're only dropping in here. And this is what I wanted to say too about what you're saying about the work and people doing the work. And they go, well, it's insurmountable. I have so many trauma. There's so much issues. Yeah. So when you drop your body, they're going with you. So
Mm.
you need to clean up your slate in this life,
Mm.
in this body, because when you're out of your body, you're still you. We need to educate people on that.
Mm.
We don't just go
Yeah.
to heaven and God gives us a hug and everything's perfect again.
Yeah,
Or,
that shit's
or
following you.
like, come on.
Yeah.
Your soul is prior to that body that you're in, and that body is housing all of your issues. So know that those issues are going to be with you when you leave your body because they're attached to your soul story. So do the work, get over yourself because you can. You wouldn't have come here if you can't overcome your circumstances. You wouldn't
Mm.
have come here to be defeated. Why would you pick a life of defeat? Why would
Mm.
you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
We
Why
could,
would you?
like, talk to me about this world that we're in 2024 and what's happening on this planet. Like, what are we in this time? Give me your rundown on that.
Yeah. Well, oh my gosh. I just feel like I can feel that there is still like this, it's just massive change. And so many people are becoming so consciously aware of what's going on. But I feel like on the flip side that I mean, I guess we're in a world of duality here in this place, and so it has to be balanced. So there will be people that won't see it this way and people who won't see it that way, and we're walking in two worlds at the same time. And I just feel like more and more is coming to the surface of all the stuff that was already there. It's just the light is being shone on all of this stuff, and I feel like it's a really like really special time to be here, and that I do believe we chose to come here to be witness to this. Like, we're not just watching the story unfold, we are the story and we're creating the story at the same time. And so I don't know what it will look like moving forward, but I feel like the people who have been sort of on this path and I guess awake, for want of a better term, to all the craziness that's been going on. Like, we're leading the way in what we can do, and we're the trees that need to stand in that storm and just wrap our branches around the people that are going to be sort of coming to terms with lots of the stuff that's going on. And again, there's no right or wrong, or I could be wrong about it all. Like, I'm not saying I know it all, but I guess that's just my feeling right now. And could that change? Maybe, but it just feels like we're at a really special time period of humanity, and that there is so much beauty to come. But in order to know beauty, we have to know the darkness too. So, I mean, that's how I feel. I don't know if you relate to that too, but I mean, you appreciate it even more as well. I mean, do we all have to like trek up the mountain and go through and fall in mud? And I don't know, but like to appreciate it, but I don't know, but it's just, I feel like that is what we're creating more of. And not this place of like, just like we were saying before, like just fluff of goodness and utopia and everyone just loves everyone and it's all grand. I don't know if that's possible because we do live in a place where we've got the duality, but a lot of the shitty stuff, like the really shitty stuff, that's going to be dissipating. And what we can do is then still work on ourselves, but without that heaviness of all that stuff that's followed through. Does that make sense?
Very good. Very, very good.
Mm.
Exactly. And we don't really know, but we have intuitions and inclinations about, when you become consciously aware and you're living consciously and working on becoming more conscious, that people like we can meet. I don't know anything about your private life, but I know you. Like
Yeah.
years ago, it's like, well, what do you do and where do you go and who are you married to? And but now when I communicate with people, like you said, all those people in your podcast, you just get each other. There's a
Mm,
beautiful tribal recognition that we're all nodes planted on the globe by
mm,
each other, and we don't need to know what we do or who we are, or we just know that we are little glowworms, unhooking one at a time the programs, and trying to enjoy the experience at the same time, and
mm.
and not to get too caught up in the heaviness, because there is a lot of stuff coming to light, and the spaceships are coming. And I actually booked James Gilliland, who you've interviewed, to come and save me. He's him and Peter Maxwell. They're just two souls. When it comes to ETs and interdimensionals, those two guys are just soundboards for me, right?
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, yeah. So real and so grounded and just, just they're not putting out crap. Like it's grounded stuff and you can just you hear you and it's like when you talk as well, like you just listen to someone and you just resonate. It's like, oh, you're saying how I feel. I couldn't put words to it, but yes, that makes sense. Like I feel like that happens a lot as well. Like when you're listening to people who are just coming from a place of authenticity and realness and just sharing what they've got to express. Like it's not even the words that are coming out, it's the energy, it's the frequency, obviously, that we're picking up on with everyone that we're talking to. And I feel the same with you, exactly the same. It's like I know you. It's like it doesn't matter what we did in our past life, in this life. Like it's not about that. It's about our essence, our frequency and what we're emitting now. And that's where we're all connecting with each other. And I think that's why so many people, like we resonate with people, we see it straight away because we're there. It's just that frequency. It's like, oh, hi. Yeah, I get it. I get it. We might have different tastes in music and bloody all this sort of stuff. Who cares? It's just I get that. And that's so special.
Yeah. It's to me, that's the community. So people talk about get a
Yeah.
community. Well, I'm like, when I speak to you, I'm home.
Yeah.
See, it's like it's like and as you said, the authenticity of people when you hear them talking, or it's, as you said, it's not what they're saying, it's their frequency. So you can't lie in this one.
Mm.
This shift of consciousness, there's no secrets and lies. So if you're bullshitting, we know.
Yeah. I think that's massive, isn't it? That's something that's really shifting heaps and has
Great.
shifted so much. It's crazy. It's just like someone will talk to you like, I know you're shitting me right now, but I'm happy for you to like think that I'm pretend, you know what I mean? Like you're like, okay, sure, whatever. But you can see it and you can feel it so much, can't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, can we move on to something that's just a bit more interesting, where you're just not pretending, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's our souls need that, because we've been starved of the truth for so long
Mm. Yeah.
as humanity, as in like we're good. Innately we're
Mm.
good. We're not sinners, and we're not just good, but we are all supreme beings. And we have the power to change our world. And when we change our world in here, you're going to enjoy the experience out there, because that's just a reflection. That's only a
Mm.
reflection of what's in here.
Yeah.
That's all that is. That's just a mirror. This room is a mirror of, so we're so begin to just look in. And you wrote a book, didn't you?
I did. I did. It's a bit it's older now. And I even said at the start of the book, don't hold me to this because I know I'll change my mind and there's stuff in there. I'm like, I could change it, but I'm like, nah, like you've gone far out, I've come away. But it's this I did. And it was something that I wanted to do. And I'll write more. I just don't know when I'll do it. But I love writing. That's another thing, you asked before, what do you do to but writing, it's just so healing and just so like you hear the words or you're not even hearing, you just type away. I could not do it on my phone though, baby. I don't know how people do this thing really quick with their thumbs and it has to be an actual keyboard. But yeah, I did write a book.
Yeah. What's it called?
It's called The Truth of Your Reality: Insights on the Game of Life and How You Choose to Play It. And then
Wow.
I wrote, yeah, I did that one, and I was really blessed to work with a company that was just starting out, and I got a deal with them, so they sort of like helped out so much. And then I thought, oh, I want to learn how to do this myself, so I self-published a book, and it's basically it's called What If. So it's questions to expand your consciousness and something like that. I don't even think that's the subtitle, but anyway, something like that. And it's literally a question on each page. So it's like you open up the book and you just flick to that, and it's one question, just to get you thinking. Because, like you were saying before, like, being curious, like the power is in the question. So when you have really good questions, that's when we expand and grow. If we're not asking questions, we get stagnant, and we're like that. I was going to say puddle of mud that just sits there and doesn't do anything, and you're not really growing or expanding. But when you start to ask questions, and even you don't have to have the answer, but if the question's there is somewhere in the infinite possibility an answer. But that's the thing that opens your mind and gets you questioning things. And I think sometimes people can be scared to ask a question because it might mean that things are different, but the power lies in that too, being able to ask the powerful questions, get curious, like you said.
Well, that's how Dolores Cannon wrote 20 to 30 books.
Yeah.
She said,
Gosh, you wrote a lot.
she said, because I always had the right question. It's
Mm,
how I made, and she's a pioneer,
yeah.
enormous pioneer in our reality. And she said, it's all about your questions. So when I trained with her school online, it was like, it's your questions. That person's session will depend on your questions. And you're like, shit, okay. Right,
Mm,
I got to start intuitively tuning into that soul, because I need to know what that soul needs to know. It's not about what I
yeah.
need to know. It's what's that soul that's sitting on that bed has come to me. So I need to intuitively. So I went and did a 2-year training program in my intuition, a
Mm,
mediumship, to learn how to not learn, because you already can, just communicate. So when I started bringing in information of people on the other side, I thought, right, now I can tune into that person on that bed, into their higher self, and say, what do you want me to ask?
mm.
And it worked really, really well. So you just keep going. You just keep learning and developing. And this is such an exciting life, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's just,
Exciting.
yeah, it is. And just, you saying that as well, just the trusting in what you get too. Like I went to the dentist this week, and I had never met the lady behind the counter. It's so random. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh, did you go for a swim this morning?" She just looked at me, and I don't know why I said it. She said, "Well, not this morning, but yesterday morning." She's like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, I don't know. I just thought you might have gone for a swim this morning. And there you go. Like it's trusting what comes through, isn't it? Really just trusting. And then just asking the question, who cares if you look like a bit of a dick? It doesn't matter. And it's because the questions are just, yeah, they're there to keep us expanding and growing. And it's fun. But like, yeah, it is a fun time to be here.
It
We've
is.
got so much to look forward to. And it's already here now. Like there's so much good here now. Like
Mhm.
not like just saying, oh, it's all good now, but there's so much good in us now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
there's so much good in us now. And so just to let that, um, as Muji would say, marinate in that,
Mm.
and become aware of what that means for you, and then just allow that to just blossom and bloom into your own life and your family's life and your pet's life, and just watch your life change. Your life will completely transform and change, and you won't even know who you are. Like, so you'll write a book and think, or do you ever do a podcast and 6 months later you're just like, I'm like over, it's like none of it's relative. It's just because we're just morphing all the time, right?
Oh, yeah. It's so fast now, though, isn't it? Like it's just, I don't know, it's on freaking steroids. So, like, you can do something last week or even yesterday, I'm like, I don't even feel that today. And I think, yeah, if we're going to honor ourselves for that because so much is shifting so quickly. And yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mind your body, because the body takes the hit. For me, the body, my body's like, you've sat on that chair and meditated for long enough. You need to start exercising. And I'm like, okay. Okay, I get it. So now my body, because energetically my body's a filter. My body's always, so I have to really, for me, be aware that pay attention to my body. And as you said, rest when you need to rest, like go to sleep, lie down on the sofa when you're tired, because you're processing monumental shifts, not
Yeah.
just busy day. You're processing a bandwidth of frequencies that are going through the filter of what you are, you know,
Mm.
and,
Yes.
and you have to recalibrate and defuse all that out, or walk around with your bare feet or something. And I love talking to you, Nereeda.
Love talking to you too, Biba.
Yeah. Well, you sent me the most beautiful um frequency diary. Like after the podcast, Nereeda sent me this diary that she has. It's her frequency shift diary. And I thought, wow, like it's just the level of detail and the care in the detail and what you do. And even how when I went on your podcast, how you approached me, I had thought I have to up my game. I'm I thought she's like on another level with this stuff. I just the home, cottage industry, like, hello, how are you? But you're beautiful. You're very enthusiastic and appreciative. And I really you're an inspiration actually to me.
Oh, thanks, mate. Right back at you. Thank
Yes,
you.
that's always
Thank you.
lovely. Yeah, no, thank you too
Mm.
for being an inspiration to me. And yeah, I'm going to continue watching your podcasts, and I won't steal any of your guests.
Yeah, go for it, mate. I'll steal all yours, you steal mine. We'll just have a big like podcast orgy or something. That sounded really wrong, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, man, let's do
Everyone.
that.
Oh, remember the time you went on Biba's podcast and you said that? Oh my God.
So we'll come back on again in maybe 6 months and see what's shifted and see what's
Oh,
changed.
yeah, definitely. Back at you. Everyone loved having you on the show as well at my end, and so much love came through. Just for this woman, just you on the screen, they absolutely loved it. So, and I did do it too, of course. So yeah, we'll have to do it both ways. And I feel like there will be a lot that shifted. I mean, even since we spoke last, do you feel like so much of like I know for sure, like you were saying before, like when you're resting, you're not just resting for the day because you're tired. Like you are moving so much energy, clearing so much. Like, yeah. So I just think 6 months, even if we did 6 weeks, it would be huge.
Yeah,
Maybe even
actually.
6 days,
Yeah.
6 minutes, even. Who knows? I don't know.
See that there's the thing. There's the lovely camaraderie that you are understanding that,
Mm,
because it could be 6 days, 6 minutes, 6 hours, 6 weeks. We keep morphing. Reality
mm,
keeps changing, ideas, concepts. And so the fact that we can even say that together, it's a recognition that actually it is very real what's happening.
yeah.
It's not just your own inner universe, it's actually your own inner micro macro. It's like,
Mm, yeah. It's
so it's,
happening here. It's happening there.
yeah, it is. And so I send you so much love and thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. You're a bloody champion, woman. I love you.
Yeah, so are you. You're a real sister. I don't ever say that, but with you, I can easily say that you're an absolute sister. Like there was a part when you were talking, one time you were talking not too long ago, and I'm looking at you, right? And I forgot I was me and I was you. I just was you as me. I was looking at myself talking, and I thought, this
Oh,
is so strange. Shit's just getting so strange. It's just like it's you, but it's beautiful strange.
yeah, it is beautiful, strange. I'm so going to be in your mirror when you look in the mirror now. I'm going to be, hi, I'm here. Is this weird?
I'm gonna go, not really.
Yeah. I
It's
didn't do the accent.
kind of the way it is these days.
I can't do yours. I'm not even going to try.
Oh, well, until next time, beautiful soul.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.